Who is your number one cheerleader? Who do you turn to when others begin to question the things that you want to create in this world? If the answer to that question is not you, then you must listen to this episode of the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Are you ready to take your message, your business, and your life to the next level?
Want to learn from someone with more than a decade of experience, training tens of thousands of people from all around the world?
Hi, Cliff. This is Pauline from Auckland, New Zealand.
John from Calgary, Alberta.
Amy Porterfield.
Michael Hyatt.
Dan here from Dunedin, New Zealand.
Ray Edwards. Mark Mason. Mike Stelzner.
Pat from Smart Passive Income.
It's Darren from Melbourne, Australia.
Now is the time to live the life of your dreams and do the work you feel most called to do in the world.
Welcome to the Cliff Ravenscraft Show.
Here's your host, Cliff Ravenscraft.
Welcome back, my friend. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share with you a little bit of an audio clip from yesterday's session of the Next Level Coaching Program. You may have heard me talk a little bit about the program in the prior episode, right at the end, episode number 741. I kind of talked a little bit about it, but this is a group coaching program for those who are early stage and aspiring entrepreneurs. Anybody who has a desire to build a business or have been working on building a business and they are not yet consistently generating a minimum of $10,000 a month every single month. Now, this group coaching program, most of the time, the participants show up live and I answer their questions. Sometimes there's a little training or teaching that I give. However, recently, I had an individual who has been a part of this program since its inception, and he was unable to make it to the last 3 meetings because he actually had coaching calls with paid clients during our meeting time. So here's the scenario. I said, hey, I hate that you've missed the last several weeks. Is there a question that you would like me to cover or address or a topic that you would like me to speak on for this week's session? And then you could just listen to my thoughts in the replay. And he said, yes, I have a question for you. Here's something that's on my mind. The question is so relevant. If you've ever had a vision of something that you wanted to create, maybe there's a business idea that you want to pursue and there are people who just don't get it. Maybe there's something that you want to do that most people would never dream of taking that level of risk. And so whether they doubt your ability to pull it off, or maybe they're afraid that this might be too risky and it could cause you to fall behind in certain areas, or any number of other reasons, where do you turn for a little bit of encouragement? I think you're going to love the question exactly word for word, how it was stated by somebody who's in the midst of just that now. I'm just going to transition right on over to reading the question that had come in and then the response that I gave. How do you handle it when others don't understand what you want to do? He said, this came up for me when you shared a couple of weeks ago about your mastermind group thinking it was crazy to leave Podcast Answer Man behind. I feel the same way about this new show that I'm starting. It's unique and going to be fun and connect to something in myself that I've been longing to do. I just didn't have the freedom, or perceived freedom perhaps, to go for it. So how do you handle that? I'm really struggling with this. I don't need approval, but some encouragement would be nice. Now, a little backstory. He, over the past year, has been working towards coaching offers for that community, and he's brought on a number of coaching clients, but it's not really taken off the way that he has most desired for it to take off. And one of the things that he's been thinking about is the business model that is more alignment with what he would desire to create. And the idea is a daily podcast live stream that is sponsored, kind of like a Joe Rogan, the Lex Friedmans, that kind of stuff, but that is it's got a faith-oriented bent to it, but it's not necessarily aimed at Christians. It opens up real, meaningful dialogue that would be compelling. And it's an area that he believes is just not being addressed, and it's in his heart to address it. To be able to do something like that and also to provide for his family. There's a certain income that he's looking to generate from it. And the idea initially was, can I get some sponsors who will pay to sponsor this? What are some income streams and stuff like this? But the first thing is giving himself permission to even pursue this. So the question is how do you handle it when other people in your life don't understand what you want to do? Now, one of the things that I don't know, who are the people in your life that don't understand? Because my answer to this question would be different if that is your wife, or is it just a couple of people in your community that you've had conversations with? My thoughts would be somewhat different depending on who we're talking about. But let's just assume that it's other people, not your spouse. And it's just the average people out there who are like, I don't know about that. Sounds like that's a little risky or whatever the case may be. Well, how do I handle it when people don't understand what I want to do? I allow all of their feedback to wash over me. In fact, I love it when somebody says to me, Cliff, I think that's a stupid idea. And here's all the reasons why I think it's doomed to fail and why I think it's one of the worst decisions you could possibly make. I love it when someone says that to me. Because if they can talk me out of my idea, it means that I might not have had the level of commitment necessary to turn my dream into a reality. If I could be talked out of it just by a handful of people in my community who don't get what it is that I have as a vision for myself, if they could just say with a couple of carefully or not so carefully crafted words, and they could talk me out of my idea, then by all means, they just saved me a lot of time, effort, and energy. I asked myself, is there any validity to some of the things that they're saying? Is there risk involved that I have not considered before? And oftentimes there are. It's like, wow, I never really gave that much thought. Now, the question I have is, assuming that that really is a possibility, am I still willing to risk what it is that my vision is? And if the answer to that question is yes, then those people have only caused me to be more committed to my vision than I was previously. So in some way, I'm thrilled that my mastermind group questioned my decision to leave Podcast Answer Man behind and go do the Mindset Answer Man, the business strategy and mindset coaching that I do today. The next thing that comes to my mind, it's very easy for me to say those things that I just said, except for the fact that I don't think that I could live my life the way that I just described if I didn't have some cheerleaders in my life. Number one, you said that you don't need approval, but some encouragement would be nice. Your number one cheerleader must be you. The encouragement you seek is within yourself. Journaling on an ongoing basis, prayer and meditation on an ongoing basis. This is the first place I would turn to the encouragement and that motivation to keep moving forward. I would always seek that first within. Now, from me being a person of faith myself, I would seek that from my connection with God. That's exactly where I would turn, is that connection. It's like, I believe this vision is a part of who I am, and I was created by an intelligent creator, and I have a relationship with God, and I just have faith that even if things don't work out the way that I think, even if it's a challenging road, I believe that ultimately this is my purpose. This is what I feel. I could be wrong. I could have just ate something funny last night and this dream just came out of nowhere. But this has been a dream for a long time. So I'm convinced in and of myself. And so number one, be your own best cheerleader. But then I'm incredibly thankful to have the wife that I do. So my spouse has always been very supportive of so many things, even the riskier things that I've done. Now, I have never just gone with blind risk. I've always attempted to go and get validation for ideas and to try things out, throw things against the wall. By the way, many of the things that I've attempted over the years have failed miserably, some of them very publicly. But the thing is I don't give up. I just get back up, get back up, get back up. So many times I say, oh, well, guess what? This happened, this happened, this happened. And the first thing Stephanie will say is, well, what are you going to try next? So for me, that is so important in my own journey of how I handle it when other people question this. So when I had my mastermind group, the scenarios, there are 6 of us in the group. So it's me and 5 other guys in the green room mastermind. And Ray Edwards was out. Now, Ray Edwards, had he been there, he would have been the one dissenting opinion. He would have been the one that says, listen, these guys are saying some pretty wise stuff. They have a lot of experience to back this up. They have lots of evidence to support the things that they're sharing with you. But Cliff, knowing your heart, I absolutely disagree with everything those other 4 guys have said. Here's why I believe you should go do what you want to do. Now, that's what Ray Edwards would have said if he was in the meeting that day, but he wasn't. And so I got the other 4 guys, and it was unanimous among those 4 in my hot seat. This is a really bad idea. But thankfully, my wife disagreed with them, and my heart disagreed with them. So my 2 biggest cheerleaders disagreed with the what seemed to be a unanimous opinion of the people who were my closest advisors. So again, it's my own, being my own cheerleader, my wife being my cheerleader, that was incredibly important. And then it was kind of nice to have Ray Edwards come along and say, listen, I listened to the recording and I couldn't disagree with those guys more. Dude, you've got to go do this. Cut it off and do it quick. Make it happen. You got this. The thing is I would say, if you don't have that, nurture that as much as you can. Nurture that relationship with yourself as your own cheerleader. Nurture that relationship with your spouse, and upgrade your peer group. Surround yourself with some people who do believe in you. And by the way, that doesn't mean to surround yourself only with people who say yes to all of your ideas. Those 4 guys had lots of valid things to say. And you know what? Today, gosh, almost 7 years later, they're like, hey, we were wrong about that. What you've done is amazing. This is incredible. And, and it's just fun. And so that's how I handle it. So how do I handle it when others don't understand what I do? Number 1, I love to hear their feedback. I'd love to hear why they're concerned. Are they afraid for me? Are they jealous of me potentially succeeding, depending on who those are? That wouldn't be the case for my wife. It wouldn't be the case for my mastermind members. But some people, there's what's called tall poppy syndrome. The best way to keep themselves high, feeling like success, is to make sure that there's not too many people in the city with taller buildings than they have. And so it's a lot easier to knock down somebody else's building than to build their own building higher. So you have to understand the motivations of other people and why don't they understand it. For many people, it's like they're afraid for you to go out and do something that is seemingly so impossible, because it's going to take a lot of grit. It's going to take a lot of determination, maybe a little bit of luck, maybe a handful of blessings from God or the universe to just make everything perfectly work out in ordained divine timing. And they're going to ask themselves the question subconsciously, why doesn't that work for me? Why couldn't I have done that? And so you don't even know that sometimes what people are saying when they're actually saying things indicating that they don't understand what it is that you want to do. Many times those people are not consciously aware of their own internal dialogue that's causing them to question what it is that you want to do. So, yeah, that's my answer to your question. Well, there you go. That was just a little bit of a clip from session number 50 of the Next Level Coaching Program. I felt inspired to share that here because I learned a long time ago that It's very easy to get caught up in our own negative self-talk, our own fears, our own doubt, our own lack of confidence about the direction and the vision of what we want to create in this world. It certainly is not helpful when there are other people that when we tell them about our plans, that their own doubts, their own lack of conviction that it's the right direction for us, without their validation, oftentimes they're simply validating our own worst fears that we have internally. One of the things that I've learned along my entrepreneurial journey is that if you're seeking validation and encouragement from others outside of yourself, then you're farming out a lot of what's possible for you in this world. You're putting a lot of weight on other people to create your life. One of my favorite things when I went to a Tony Robbins event in, I think it was 2015, there was Joseph McClendon III. And this guy talked about you've got to give yourself a high five, you've got to pat yourself on the back, you got to look in the mirror and talk great stuff about yourself. I mean, literally, the message was, if you're really going to make it in this world, you have to realize that your number one cheerleader in life must be you. Now, I'm very blessed to have my number two cheerleader in the world be my wife. What an incredible gift that is. I recognize that not everybody has that when it comes to some of these things, especially if your partner has financial certainty and financial security as their number one psychological human need. I totally get it that is a challenge for so many people. I've worked with them, and I kind of hinted at it here in my answer that I gave, but there are things that you can do to nurture that and navigate where the concern comes from a spouse about the direction and the ideas and the vision that you have. That can be navigated. I have since found out that the person who asked this question, that's not the case there, so that's good. And also, I've learned over the last nearly 2 decades of being full-time self-employed how essential it is to find people who can have your back, who believe in you. Yes, it's nice to have their encouragement, but unless you are your own best cheerleader, your own number one cheerleader, what happens if you developed a relationship with your peers who are incredibly successful, some of the top in their business, in their industries? What would you do in the event of something crazy that you want to do, so outlandish, and all of them in a single meeting when you're in the hot seat? What do you do when all of them say this is a huge mistake, but internally you know this is what I'm going to do this? They may be right, and there may be consequences to pay, but by golly, I'm going to do it. And the fact that I can't be talked out of it in the midst of the level of weight that I give to the feedback from these individuals, it only served to make me understand just how vital this vision is for my future of what I want to create. I hope there's something in this that resonated with you, because it's not very often that you're going to see a less than 30-minute podcast episode from me. And some of you are probably like, is Cliff okay? When you actually saw this episode drop into your feed. Hey, real quick, before I wrap up this episode, this incredibly short episode, let me lengthen it a little bit by telling you about my Next Level Coaching program. This is a program that I've been doing for just over a year. It started in September 2023. The first full year of this program was devoted to helping people who were pursuing a coaching business, people who were looking to increase their skill level when it came to the art and the business of a coaching business. Now, one of the things that I recognize is that there's a lot of questions these individuals have that have nothing to do with really the coaching aspects, the art of coaching. And some of the main questions that they started to ask were basic entrepreneurial business strategy, business mindset questions that, quite frankly, anyone who would want to launch a business could benefit from. And I had launched a second group coaching program for early stage and aspiring entrepreneurs. So I was doing these 2 separate weekly group coaching calls, one for coaches and then one for early stage entrepreneurs. And eventually I recognized it's like, wait a second, there is nothing in either of these programs that isn't essential information for all of the members of both programs. And so essentially what I decided to do is to combine them into one program, the Next Level Coaching Program. So you may have heard me mention the Next Level Coaching Program in the past. I just want you to know that it's no longer only focused on the art and business of coaching. It's for anyone who wants to launch a full-time self-employed lifestyle on the entrepreneurial journey, or even if you just want to start a business on the side and earn some extra income on the day job that's given you some really great benefits that you don't want to leave behind, or you just want to diversify your income streams, maybe pick up to help offset where the economy and inflation has gone up a little bit. I think we've all kind of felt the weight of that these days. Anyway, whatever it is that you want to create when it comes to your online business pursuits, if you are not already generating a minimum of $10,000 a month every single month in your business, consistent monthly recurring revenue, this is the group coaching program for you. All you need to do is email me if you're interested. Email me, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Tell me where you are in your entrepreneurial journey. Now, I will say this. In episode 741, I put a similar style call to action in the episode. I am getting a lot of responses via email. It will take me maybe 1 to 3 business days to respond to you. I am personally reading your emails, by the way. The one thing I will ask you, feel free to share your entrepreneurial journey. I'm asking you to share your entrepreneurial journey. But if you could try to summarize it in like 3 paragraphs or less, the less that's in your email, the faster I will respond and start sharing some resources with you and tell you about some amazing, absolutely, there's no way I could possibly pass up this offer, this opportunity as it relates to the Next Level Coaching Program. I have a heart and a passion and a desire to help people avoid the biggest mistakes I made in the first 3 to 5 years of my business. I've made a living very successfully, financially, helping people achieve in 12 to 18 months what took me 3 to 5 years to achieve. That's a track record of success that I've had over and over again. If you're interested at all in having access to the environments that I have to help you on your entrepreneurial journey, it requires an email and a short story. Email me today, cliff@cliffravenscraft.com. Until next time, I encourage you to take everything you do, including keeping your podcast episodes under 30 minutes, maybe, sometimes. Until the next time, I encourage you to take it all to the next level.
Mindset Answer Man.